Hello everyone. All right, so we haven't had a video out in a while because we have some fantastic training coming out and the coaches here have been extremely busy getting all of your content built. So we'll be releasing some of that in the coming days, but we're going to start with a video about boundaries, and this will be a series that we're going to be doing. So this first video will be a little bit shorter, my famous last words, and will be followed by some guest coaches that we're going to invite into our recording studio to add in their opinions and get some different perspectives on boundaries, because it seems to be a pretty hot topic and we want to make sure that we're giving you lots of content and perspectives that are relatable and just give you the ability to soak it in and breathe it in and give you some food for thought. So we're going to talk about boundaries today. If there's something that we talk about or kind of stir up in your thought process, feel free to, as always, talk to your coach through your weekly coaching sessions, or if you don't have one, you can go to our website, oxygencoachinggroup.com, to get one scheduled. You can also send us, because this is going to be a series that we're going to be starting, you can also send us a request for a topic or a question, and as we have our guest coaches come in and out, we'll be happy to either anonymously or specifically talk about your question or comment as we start one of our next series videos. So let's talk about boundaries. About 18 months ago, we all had a ton of restrictions and boundaries imposed on us. And we talk about personality types quite a bit here at Oxygen. Sometimes we know we have a personality that requires boundaries to be put on us because we know we can do anything. We'll take anything onto our plates. We are a doer. I am a doer. I have a neighbor who is quite a bit older, and she says, if I ask Kat to do anything, she just does it. I will literally do anything for her. So she's very cautious as to what she asks me to do. So 18 months ago, when play dates, if you have little people, or ball games, if you have small kids, or wine dates, or any kind of social interaction was totally put to a stop, it kind of emptied our calendars. And those calendars, while they may have shuffled and work may have just looked different, you still had to go in some cases, and you still had kids and they had to go to virtual school, but there was no sitting in line at drop off or waiting at the bus stop. So things got a little different, and in a lot of cases, time freed up some. So even our need to just go out and run errands changed. Things just weren't open. I heard through coaching, and even said myself, repeated to many people, there's a lot of things I learned in that 18 months, things that I lost that I didn't necessarily want back. There were plenty of things that I lost that I would love to have back. However, the daily rush that I lost in the natural restrictions that a pandemic brought to us, I was more than happy to let go. One of the things that came out of that some businesses even are struggling with, is the ability to virtually train, the ability to virtually speak a language that's a little bit more universal, was a great thing for businesses. Some businesses are struggling with it, but a lot of people are getting to work from home a little bit easier. Video conferencing is a lot easier for some businesses because the verbiage and the technology alone has become much more universal. So some good things did come from it, but the boundaries of rush, rush, be at work, rush, rush, get the kids here, rush, rush, all of those things became kind of imposed upon us to a good standard. I have a friend of mine who taught her kids to do a little bit of the prep work and a little bit of the cooking in her house. My kids, I'm a single mom, did cook when they were younger and living at home, and I was out in the workforce. But she wasn't quite there yet. So now her kids love to cook, and it opened up some more time for her. Again, they were boundaries that she had set on herself and her kids. However, now that she was able to kind of watch over, and she needed them to learn how to do it, to kind of allow that time at work for work at home and school at home, to allow it. Now it's freed up some time now that things are opening a little bit. So with that being said, we're kind of returning, right? We're returning back to families kind of getting together, expanded families. We are seeing our friends, kids are allowed out, people are vaccinated, or a combination thereof. So my question to you is, how often are you finding yourself returning from those types of events, or maybe even work on Monday, more exhausted than you were on Friday? If we're not taking the time on the weekends to rejuvenate ourselves, or we're spending time with people who we should be able to rejuvenate with, are we more exhausted and more drained than we started? And what does that tell us? There's magic in the word no. I used to work with a girl who said, no does not mean no and I hate your mother. It just means no, thank you. But the sidebar to that in our personal lives means that we have to trust that it's going to be honored when we say no. You know, no, I'm sorry, we can't meet for a play date today. We need to stay home. We need the calm. We need to clean our house. We need to catch up on laundry. No, you can't go play with your friends because I need your help at home so that our family is taken care of. Even more directly, boundaries at work. I heard a really great piece done on the news the other day, and the suggestion that was offered was that if you want to stay at home, that you offer to take a lower salary so that you can stay at home. The perspective that was lacking in the news article, though, was the advantages that a corporation could have if they have the ability to have stay-at-home workers. And we've talked in other videos. If you have questions, don't send too much hate mail here. We're talking about boundaries. But there are some people who do a better job, and we do have the ability to assess for that kind of thing, pre-hire or post-hire. If you have employees that you think you would like to have work at home, or you would like to be a stay-at-home employee, we can have you personally assessed. But again, it's what worked for you during the shutdown, the pandemic kind of restrictions that made your life better, and are you allowing those boundaries to continue to exist in your life? I think that when it was done for us, it was a little bit safer, and now it's time for us to kind of practice our sea legs a little bit. Many of you know that I practice yoga fairly consistently, and one of the pieces in yoga is your third eye. Feel free to look it up, or we can talk more about it, but I'm gonna just give you kind of an overview really quick. When your third eye is blocked, your chakra, you have more of a me versus them mentality. And it's kind of that FOMO, right? You hear kids or advertising say you have kind of a fear of missing out. When your third eye is open, you have more of a holistic approach. You have more of you can see the greater picture. And if this is an approach or an outlook that you follow, there is the ability to block your third eye with too much busyness. So if you feel like you have this kind of me versus them mentality, take a step back and just think about where your boundaries are. So you have seen us talk about this revolving circle of results, beliefs, judgment, and actions in the past. If you go back through some of our YouTube videos or you've participated in some of our classes or workshops, you see us talk about these 4 pieces. And we talk very often about how we can continue this cycle positively or negatively if we're not cautious. This is how we function throughout the day. It's how the momentum of our decisions continue into either a good cycle or a bad cycle. Boundaries themselves get caught right here and right here. So if we believe that it is good for us to say, no, we need to be exercising more family time. We need to go back to family dinners. We need to be in our home office X number of hours every morning to clear out our inboxes or to handle if you're popping up on our behavior assessment that you are not task oriented. All of these pieces right here are going to stem from our beliefs. And this right here is where we can establish a boundary that will actually change how we get things done, and then when or what happens, and the action changes. So then it adjusts right here. And you will then get a different result, which will then change the belief. When that judgment of, hey, you know what? I actually think it worked. I got a different result. So if we do not impose our own boundaries, the ones that we like or dislike, or we're working on those sea legs again, it's going to change right here or right here. And like I said, this can very easily, it will get thin, it will get fat, it'll get tall, it'll get skinny. It's a circle, right? So it will move as we kind of change our behaviors. But if you're going to impose boundaries, again, with people that you trust, hopefully that's a manager, an owner, maybe even your team, people under that report to you, your family, your significant other, your children, people in your life, this is where you're going to see those changes start to happen. We have to be cautious that if we do not impose boundaries. Does everybody remember, let's see if I can poorly draw this. When I was a little kid, I used to have this kind of like microphone type thing that you could talk into, and it echoed. It was supposed to be like a microphone, whatever. It's like an echo chamber. It was an echoing thing. It just made your voice louder. If we put into this echo chamber what we don't want, what happens? It just bounces around in there, right? And you're not going to get out anything more than what we put into it. However, if we put something out that is actually going to make a change, then we're not caught in an echo chamber. We're putting it out there so that we can actually change a judgment. We can actually change a belief, and we can make an actionable change for results. So we want to watch that we're not getting stuck in that echo chamber. All right, so I probably wasn't truthful. That we're getting a little bit longer on our video. We're going to leave this. If you have things that you'd like us to talk about in terms of boundaries, we would love to hear from you. Like I said, you can message us on any of our social media channels. You can get on our Facebook, or I'm sorry, on our webpage, coachinggroup.com, and you can submit in our forum, and one of our coaches will either get back with you or you'll hear us discuss it in our next video on boundaries. So I hope everybody takes just a little bit of time to breathe life in, and hopefully we see you at a workshop or event coming up soon. Have a great day, everybody.